Really excited to have folks here today and welcome. We know that your lives are likely busy right now. It's been an amazing stretch, and I'm also amazing, I think, in terms of how days just seem to get eaten up, and oftentimes spending time online in these types of environments, entire hours and days can pass. And we're appreciative that you're able to spend a little bit of time with us in this moment. I'll be introducing myself a bit further down the road. My name is Brian Palm. I'm the director of the head of the middle school and also the assistant head of school here at Catholic Memorial. And I'd like to welcome you all here today to this environment. I think a few goals in mind as we think about today is certainly one is conveying our enthusiasm and our excitement for welcoming you all to the CM community and your sons to this learning and caring environment. Our goal today is really twofold. Really is to introduce you to see a number of the faces and names so that we can help answer some of your questions over the course of this summer, so that you can learn a little bit about who to ask what questions. I think this is one of the sort of more challenging things in any new school environment, is to kind of figure out, if I've got a question about subject area X, who do I go to? And so through today, we'll be broadcasting the folks' faces and names, and also giving you a little bit of background in terms of what kinds of questions you should be looking to ask them about. We also have fielded some other initial questions about who was going to be here, and so you guys had asked some questions early on. So I think that I've got a couple questions here. There's audio issues, and I'm not sure. I think folks should be hearing things fairly well. If folks do have some audio issues, we don't have another call in to do this, so it's just by what device you'd be logging into. So I apologize for that. We will be summarizing all of this material in another way and getting that out to folks as well, and we'll be recording this. So that's the other thing too. We'll be posting this up on our website over the next couple of days. So hopefully you'll be able to get it through that environment as well. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our middle school vice principal, Mr. Kevin Durazo, to lead us in our opening prayer. Mr. Durazo.
Good afternoon, everyone. And as we begin together in prayer, I just want to remind us to recognize, no matter where we are, near or far, together or separate, that we are always in the loving presence of God. So join me as we call that to mind and pray in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. God of love, we thank you for the compassionate guidance of your Son. When worries or anxieties cloud our outlook, please bring us brighter days through greater faith in your care for us. When we encounter others in need of compassion, give us the faith and courage of our founder, Blessed Edmund Rice, to serve others generously and to brighten the days of others by sharing your love. We ask this through your name, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
All right, thank you, Mr. Durazo. Wonderful. We will, I'll get back into the slideshow here, and just a quick reminder, as I just said, this will be recorded. It will be available. We'll send out a link to everybody, all of our families here, to show you where that is. It'll probably take 24 or 36 hours to get posted up, but it will be here. This is recorded, and it will be made available to our families immediately after this. It's a nice way to start things out, and in terms of making sure that you see all of the happy, smiling faces here at Catholic Memorial, we wanted to start at the top for our show today, and so with that, I'm going to ask Dr. Peter Folan to step in, our president of Catholic Memorial, to step in with a few words and a welcome.
Good afternoon. Welcome to all of our amazing prospective new families and parents. I know this is an exciting time. We typically would be doing this in person, and I want you to know that we are here preparing for you, and we're excited to welcome you to our incredible family. This has been a very different year, and I'm sure all of you, maybe since we last met in our welcome reception in March, the world has changed. But I want to let you know that we're continuing to adapt and think critically about the road ahead, and our focus on creating a loving space for young men, a school that's dedicated to providing great opportunities for young men, that's never changed. If anything, we've gotten stronger as an institution, more intentional. Our faculty has been doing incredible work, and we're truly excited. As much as we're going to miss these seniors who've graduated, we're really excited to welcome our new students. So my advice for you as you start thinking about the school year, to be excited to make new relationships, to be excited to open up to a world of ideas, and to have some fun. This is really an exciting time to be in schools. It's a exciting time to be engaging with the world. I hope you have a great summer. I hope you read some great books. I hope you get out and experience nature. And I hope you're really excited about being a Knight. We had a very strong admissions season, very competitive pool. And if you've been selected to come, it's because we see something very special in you. And we're really excited to cultivate that. So I'm going to turn this back over. We're excited to see you all, and have a great rest of your summer. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Folan. Always wonderful to hear some good words from the president's office. And again, this is what we're really hoping to do today, is to share some of our faces and names, and continue to grow the comfort and familiarity that we hope that you'll have very soon with all of us here at Catholic Memorial. So I want to start here with just a review of our mission. We like to do this a lot because the mission is central to all that we do here at Catholic Memorial. It is an important piece. It guides us in our decisions. It guides us during faculty meetings. It guides us in our classrooms as we're thinking about lesson planning. And so for those of you who might be a little bit less familiar to it, I've highlighted a number of pieces of this here. We are an Edmund Rice school. We will be hearing from our head of campus ministry today to talk a little bit about that as well, and recognizing that our mission here is really to transform boys' lives through a range of activities: academics, arts, athletics, and campus ministry. We talk about this idea of challenge and how important that challenge is in order to create and generate growth, and the idea of pursuing excellence. And not always getting there, but this idea that something like excellence exists out there that our boys should be working to pursue on a regular basis. And then finally, the idea that our school is centered around this idea of embracing gospel values and leading through service to others. Those are core and fundamental to all that we do here at Catholic Memorial. So I want to turn the mic over just for a moment to Mr. Michael Schell, who many of you know through the admissions process, our Director of Enrollment Management here at Catholic Memorial. But because today is also symbolic in the sense that the baton is being handed from one person and one office here at Catholic Memorial to a whole bunch of other people here at Catholic Memorial, I thought it was good for you all to hear from Mr. Schell to help with this transition. So Mr. Schell.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Palm, and parents and students who may be joining us. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be with all of you right now. Your health, safety, and well-being have been in all of our prayers. It's been wonderful working with you throughout the application and enrollment process, and we're so grateful for you partnering with us on this journey ahead. The decision that you've made to become a CM Knight and our decision to make you a CM Knight has been done so only after sincere reflection and research on both of our parts. I hope any feelings of worry that you or your son may be feeling or about your future may quickly be replaced with excitement about what lies ahead, because today's extremely thoughtful and detailed virtual orientation program is a testament to how at CM, our teachers, faculty, and students, coaches live the promise we make in the admissions process that every parent and student receives focused, caring, and personal attention from our expert middle school faculty and leadership teams. We want you to succeed here at CM, and I believe you all will, not only because of your special gifts and talents, but because of the people who are on this call with you to guide every step along your way and the resources, structures, and schedules they're going to share with you that will lead you to your best experience here. I wish you all a wonderful summer and a great start to CM, and I can't wait to see you back on campus soon. Thank you. I'll turn things over to Mr. Brian Palm, who will walk you through the rest of the program.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Shell. Good. So again, I think it's good for us to talk a little bit and ground ourselves in sort of the why we're here moments. And so if I might indulge, spend a lot of time. We all do. This is our craft and our professions. And so I wanted to share some thoughts just about the middle school boy and this boy that we get to work with. And some of you might wonder why we work with these boys after particularly trying days or a day of having them online. But we've chosen this as our career, and we have a wonderful depth of faculty who have committed themselves and enjoy this age group and working with boys in particular, right? And so I have a couple of bullet points here that are sort of worth reading and taking a look at, right? Recognizing that your son is at this age, all ages, but this age in particular, where they want to be seen. They want to feel that they matter. And they're sort of at both ends. They can be highly impressionable and malleable and idealistic, and then at the same time capable of incredible high level, flexible and critical thinking. This is sort of the conundrum of the middle school individual. And they're going to be working hard over these next couple of years to understand what their strengths are, what their interests are, what their values are, and their priorities. And so this is part of the middle school experience. I've got this quote in here from another fellow educator and author. And she describes the idea of middle school boys in particular. They're acutely aware of how they stack up against their peers intellectually, athletically, physically, and socially, just at the very moment when they're most self-conscious. And then they have to spend all day and every day performing in front of these rotating groups of people whose opinions are normally enormously valued by this boy. And so these are some of the things. This is why we see these developmental things happening in boys this age. And we know that, we understand that, and we embrace that. We don't push that away. We understand that that's a part of what we get. So I also wanted to recognize that in this, we'll talk a lot about the idea of partnership over your time here at Catholic Memorial, and this being sort of a really important one. Recognizing that your goals and our goals are oftentimes quite aligned as we think about kind of what we are hoping for the boys. We are encouraging, we hope to create and encourage confident and kind and self-aware boys. I think many of you hold those values high in your families as well. We want to encourage them, as Mr. Shell said, to become their best selves in this experience here at school. And we understand that they might not be thinking about those longer term goals, but we're there to help them start to think about those longer term goals. And we're here to help them understand their own gifts and talents better, right? Recognizing that everybody comes to the table with a different set of those gifts and talents, and they need to appreciate those and embrace what those are. And we're here to help unpack and uncover some of those things that they might not even know exist themselves, right? We also talk a lot about this idea of boys learning to take care of themselves so that they can take care of others. Right, and that has to do with remembering to brush their teeth in the morning, so that they can then start thinking about those bigger and larger and more important ways of participating in the larger community to take care of the other folks that need it, and that includes people in your own household and certainly in our larger communities, locally and nationally. We are working as well as you to cultivate the skills and confidence that your son needs so that they can become the strongest learner, leader, and teammate that they can be in our community and in our classrooms. And we often we recognize, and I think that this is something that we do well here at CM. We hold that, we're often talking about doing something bigger here at CM. And this sometimes means that we are going against what might be sort of mainstream suggestions from society and things that they see on TV and in print and on social media. And it takes courage and strength and leadership to to work against that and recognize the value and the values that we're working to encourage on a daily basis. So this gets us to some of the ethos of Donahue Hall and at Catholic Memorial, right, where we have a couple of things that we really try and emphasize on a regular basis, is that they get the boys to understand that they are part of something that is larger than just one boy, and that outward looking piece, right, discovering that there is real great meaning and there has to be great meaning in your son's life, and discovering what is it that gives your son's life meaning, and that's a journey that we hope to begin with your boys here in the middle school. We also recognize the value of acting with kindness as we appreciate and celebrate difference, particularly with the dialogue that's going on in our country these days, and recognizing the value and wonder of difference. And these are the things that enrich our community. So helping others to be excellent by providing ways for them to shine, and shining next to them is a way to be excellent. And even better than that is thanking someone who has pushed you to be excellent and challenged you to be excellent. And we also spend some time with this concept of thinking about treating your son like his future self would want to be treated. So recognizing that he might not want to be thinking about that or held to that standard right now, but at some point in time, recognizing that that standard will be something that he will appreciate later. So, and then my last piece here before I do a quick introduction and we start to go through our group and our team that's working with everybody here, so that you can see who can answer some of those questions, is this recognition of partnership and this appreciation for this. In order for us to do the type of learning that I've just described, it means that we all have to be on board and engaged with each other here in this process, where conversations that we have at school resonate with conversations that you have at home, and as difficult as some of those might be in the next few years, recognizing that we are all working towards those larger goals. This is a process, and there are going to be highs and lows. And your partnership, sort of working, understanding, and appreciating kind of where your son is with an honest eye to that is really a part of making this happen. And we'll do our best as well where we can. We've got a wonderful bunch of professionals who, as I mentioned, have committed their careers here, who have vast experience working with boys of this age, and we're excited about taking on this next group that's coming in the door. So just a quick sort of who I am and what I do, right? As head of the middle school, I work with sort of the middle school mission within the larger CM mission, working on kind of coordination and delivery of the academic program, including development and implementation of kind of core, fundamental, and new initiatives within the middle school, work at staffing, things like that as well. You should feel free to reach out to me about any questions with our middle school program, onboarding process, events, calendars, things like that as you have them. The part of my job is being available to you as a parent group over throughout, and that includes certainly in the summer of onboarding as well. So the first person that I'd like to introduce to our team, you've already heard from today, is Mr. Kevin Durazo, our Vice Principals of grades 7 and 8 and Mission Integration here at Catholic Memorial. Mr. Durazo.
Thank you, Mr. Palm. Again, my name is Kevin Durazo. I'm the vice principal in the middle school, and I'm also the vice principal of mission integration, so overseeing our mission-focused programming. And this will be my 6th year now at CM, which is a great number because it's that point where we finally get to see some of those seeds we plant in those middle school years really come to fruition as boys. Now, I remember coaching boys in my first few years here in the middle school, and then watching them just graduate this past year, really get to see the boys whose mission we have for them are to pursue excellence, embrace gospel values, and lead through service. And that's a long haul. So in my role, I am really overseeing daily life in Donahue Hall. And so I have my pulse on the life of the boys. And that pulse is really taking, stock of how their experience is academically, athletically, spiritually, socially, emotionally, artistically. And so in my role, I do get to teach a theology class, but it's really to be a steward of the boys' daily experience. And so a focus is throughout that experience, as Mr. Palm said, focusing on, in this stage of adolescence, boys building confidence, boys building character, and they do so by practicing healthy habits. And so in the middle school, we have a philosophy of student formation that is intertwined with our disciplinary philosophy. So I will be that contact about student discipline, but when we talk about student discipline in the middle school, it is of paramount importance that it's intertwined with our idea of student formation, and our idea of student formation is grounded in the importance of really loving and caring for our boys. And so we know that in the middle school level, boys need to be their best, accountability. They need firm boundaries. They need to know the fairness of the playing field. Those are all important, but we also need the boys to understand that they're not defined by their mistakes. They're not defined by a single moment. And so our conversations with boys and our outlook for the boys is really helping them navigate relationships, to have reflective experiences when they do make mistakes, when they fall short, when they do things that they most likely knew that they shouldn't have done, that we have reflective conversations, that we get them to consider their teachers not as others, but they begin to build healthy habits and relationships with adults and with one another. And so this reflectiveness with our philosophy of student formation is extremely important. And so with that being said, as I manage sort of the daily life of our boys in the middle school, I'm also a key conversation partner with you throughout the year about your boys' experience. And again, that is sort of a key filter role I play for your son in all aspects of his experience, academically, athletically, socially, spiritually. So it's quite likely for many reasons that you'll be hearing from me about your son's experience through the year. And so just of note, things as we go into the summer that you should be mindful of what you would be contacting me for. I'll be sort of the first point of contact for scheduling and course placement. And then I will get in conversation with maybe the guidance counselor, Mr. Palm, whoever, to direct and get answers to you about your son's schedule and course placement. So I'll be the first go-to for that. And then other aspects of school life, the things that you might be worrying about or that the boys might be worrying about, lockers, just if you need a point to be directed to who to talk to, I'm a good go-to for that. I'll be in touch about our orientation program, which will have that first week of classes, and then our advisory program, which will be putting our boys into small groups throughout the year with a dedicated faculty member who will serve as their advisor throughout the year. That'll put another adult relationship, teacher relationship to your son that fosters that close-knit, important community aspect of who we are at CM. And so I would say, as a closing, kind of be on the outlook for an email that'll come out for your son to fill out, which will have a couple questions that he'll answer, which will help with our sort of matchmaking process for advisory, so that we can put him in a group and that we can connect him with an adult that will be in his best interest and will be an important relationship for him to start. So with that being said, I'm going to pass the baton to Ms. Mary Concannon, who is our middle school guidance counselor and has been a member of our middle school faculty since it opened in 1993. So we're lucky to have this expert on our faculty. So Ms. Concannon.
Thank you, Mr. Durazo, and welcome families to our virtual Donahue Hall. I'm glad that you're able to join us today, and I hope it won't be too long before we'll have an opportunity to meet in person, or maybe that you'll be able to attend one of our parent coffees that we have during the year. I know I may have met some of you in passing at open house and maybe saw your sons for a brief hello when they did their visit, their night for a day. Plenty of excitement on those days. And now it's exciting as we start the summer after our crazy spring and look forward to a bit of rest and respite, but also we want to create some excitement for the boys as they start their new adventure in the fall. This is a big time for families and for boys as you're transitioning from maybe your local school or your neighborhood school to a larger school, maybe one removed by distance from your neighborhood. It's a process for the boys of kind of weaning away from being more dependent little men to becoming hopefully more independent little men. But let's not fool ourselves. We know that 7th and 8th graders do not move in lockstep. And this process of becoming independent may not be accomplished in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. It could very well go on through sophomore year. We don't know. But the one thing that was great right at this point is you're here because by choice. You selected to come to middle school here at Catholic Memorial. And equally important is the fact that we too choose to be here. And some of us, like myself and a few of the others, there are probably 3 or 4 other teachers on staff here in the middle school that have been here since they're founding members of the middle school that go back to 1993. We have a wonderful group of colleagues working together in a fabulous building. It's ideal for middle school. So by being here by choice, this is huge. So let's create a little momentum here today and let's get things going for the boys. Why not get their new red shirt when you have an opportunity at the bookstore, or maybe a new cap, and hang it up somewhere at home and look forward to what the fall is going to bring. And to give your sons the best chance possible starting their new school, I would take a time over the next month or so and make sure that all his records are complete, that we have the full picture of what we need to look at so that we can work effectively and happily with your sons. Their academic records, their end-of-year report cards, any other types of testing materials that we would need. Make sure that everything is here. And we know working remotely that whatever time things usually take, we have to allow ourselves more time in the remote venue. So possibly contact your local school just to make sure that the records have been forwarded, or you can always contact our admissions office here to make sure that everything is up to date. And another key point in the records is to make sure too that your health records and all of that are up to date. And we'll deal with that now in just a moment. But one thing that's interesting about Donahue Hall is the longevity of the staff, the cohesiveness of the unit that's there, the people that work together, all very, very different, very talented people. We cooperate and we collaborate with each other, but we also do that, of course, with the kids and with you as parents and family members. And that's my position, that's my job, kind of the in-between person that makes some of this happen, hopefully seamlessly, not always successful on that point, but strive to make it work for the boys, to interact with the boy and the teacher, and the boy and the teacher in the home, and make it work. And especially in the early days when the boys are just starting school. And we have so many resources available to us. And one resource that I'm going to call attention to today, because the other colleagues will be speaking shortly, is our Director of Academic Support. Her name is Deborah Rooney. And this summer, I believe it's in August, she'll be running a skills-based program and a technology program. Now, maybe at this point you're saying, I really don't want to get into more school or more remote work right now. Maybe you need a break. That's fine. But look ahead, look on our school website and check out the program that's being offered in August. It might be appealing to you. It might be a help to your son. And I would look at it and see if it's something that would work for you. So it's a summer school, it's a summer program on skills, and there's also a technology component as well. And the other point is coming later this week and through next week, and as we start now from today onward, you will be receiving important mailings from the school. Everything will be coming electronically. And even today's Zoom webinar, of course, is recorded, so you can go back over, which is really great because you're getting a lot of information. You may need to sit and listen to this again just to get the people and the places and everything straight in your mind, and that's great. So keep up with the emails from the school, read through them. If you have specific questions, address them to any one of us that you're meeting this afternoon regarding the start of school or bookstore, books, any of those questions. And one parent or two submitted a question to us. And the question was, is there an opportunity to give the guidance counselor, that would be me, an overview before school starts to maybe set the tone for my son's strengths, interests, or what help is available? By all means, by all means. Contact me with any questions regarding student support, learning plans that may be in place, placement questions, anything related to any of these issues. Send me an email at maryconcannon@catholicmemorial.org, and I will be happy to help you in any way I can. And as I say, take a look through the website, stay abreast of the information. And one of our key colleagues in our school is our school nurse, Mrs. Batchelor. She'll be coming on in a moment. And Mrs. Batchelor brings a wealth of professional expertise, so critical in these days, but always on the day-to-day as well. She brings common sense, and she brings a great deal of personal expertise and professional expertise. But in addition, she's the mother of 2 sons who went through the middle school. She walked the walk. So please listen carefully now to Ann Batchelor, and she'll inform you on what you need to do for your health records. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the production this afternoon. Ann?
Thank you so much, Mrs. Concannon. And welcome to all the parents and to students who may be here. We're so looking forward to meeting you in September. And I do have the sort of unique perspective of working at CM, as well as being the parent of 2 young men who've gone through the middle school program, as Mrs. Concannon just said. In fact, my son just finished his 8th grade, so he'll be going on to the high school, and my older son will be going into 11th. So basically, most of you probably know what a school nurse does. I'm here to sort of look after the day-to-day needs of your students, of your sons, specifically if your son has any chronic health needs, if they need to have medication administered at school, and certainly I respond to the day-to-day illnesses and injuries. You'll be getting more information about physical exam requirements, which of course, since you're going to a new school, you'll need to submit those to me. And certainly once you receive the mailing, you can start submitting those as soon as possible. It's always better if I know of the health needs of a student before we start school. So similar to what Mrs. Concannon had said, please reach out before school starts to me if your child has a particular health need. So you can see the slide that's up. Those are some of the responsibilities that I have. You know, again, certainly if your child has a chronic health need, please reach out. The other thing that I do is I coordinate all of the sports signups. So you'll be getting more information about that. If you have a question about how to sign my child up for sports, or what are the requirements, or I'm having an issue with submitting something for fall sports, I'm the person to go to. And the best way to reach me is by email. And I know that the email addresses will be coming out in the mailing later in the week. So that's pretty much what I do in terms of working with the middle school. I work super closely with Mrs. Concannon, with Mr. Palm, with Mr. Durazo. We really are very much a team. And so certainly anything that you want to share with any of them, you can feel free to share with me as well. And we are going to continue with the program, and we're going to now turn it over to Mr. Craig Najarian, who is our athletic director. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Ann. I want to welcome everybody. Have a good this afternoon, and I want to just immediately welcome you to this family. These are exciting times, and I always enjoy talking to you directly. I think obviously this spring has been much different than what we're used to, and what athletics is typically about is being together and competing together, and the emotion that's involved with it. So it's certainly been an interesting spring, but we look forward to the fall. You know, we are part of what I consider the best athletic conference in the state, which is exciting. With that comes a tremendous tradition and history with this school, and now your sons are part of that. And I always look at it as not sort of leaning on the history, but now you get to carve out your own chapter, whatever that is. I think, you know, having a daughter that's in middle school now, I'm learning that, you know, it's something that evolves at that level in grades 7 and 8. You know, the things that we're always focused on are making sure that the boys are coalescing as teams and building teams, and also building their self-esteem. And I can tell all of you that I look back at my own growth as a 7th grader and the growth I made in terms of self-esteem as an 11th grader were night and day. So, you know, we work on building a teacher-coach model that's has an elite ability to connect with your boys. I feel like that is the biggest factor in building a strong athletic department. I want coaches that are going to be able to connect with your sons and help guide them. And, you know, this is not, it's never a perfect process. You know, the things that I try to focus on or get the kids to focus on by the time they graduate from here is I want them to be able to learn to deal with adversity in its many forms. I want them to be able to learn to be proactive communicators, and I want them to learn to build an approach and a work ethic that's going to serve them well. And what I tell the boys is that if they can do that, those are in essence going to be a pathway to great leaders. And so those are the things that we try to focus on at those levels. You are certainly a part of something bigger than just yourself. I've been here 6 years now as the director. Well, this is going to be my 6th year as the director of athletics. And it's an amazing community that you're joining. I've been a part of 2 other school systems, and the difference is obvious to me. It's always been obvious to me. It's just such a great community. So be proud that you're now a part of it. You'll be seeing some information over the next few weeks about apparel and things like that, so that you can start to get some gear so that you're ready for the fall. So keep your eyes open for that as that comes up. You certainly can reach out to me with questions about the fall season. We are planning as normal, but also understanding that things are changing day by day and week by week. And so we're following state guidelines, obviously the leadership of our administration on what next steps are for the fall, but we are planning as normal. And you know, the fall tryout schedule that you'll see in Mr. O'Brien's and Mr. Palm's email Thursday will outline that. Those dates won't change in terms of start dates, but the details may. So we may have to be a little fluid with some of that stuff, but I will be in constant communication throughout the summer to make sure that that's updated. But we are just trying to be as nimble as we can as more information becomes available. So if you have questions about connecting with a coach specifically, or a specific question about a coach or a sport, feel free to reach out, and I'll be happy to guide you and help you. And then, you know, any other questions that might come up that you're just not sure of that you want to ask me offline, feel free to reach out, and I'm available to you all summer. I really look forward to seeing your sons and getting to know them in person. I can't wait to build relationships with them, and I always want them to feel as though they can come see me once they get to know me, you know, to bounce things off me. And the last thing I'll say is there may be a vision of how you have it in your head of how it's going to unfold. It may very well take that shape, but it could also take a left turn or a right turn, and we're here to help navigate that for you. And sometimes things evolve that you didn't expect that are the best things for your sons. You just don't know it yet. So I'm happy to help guide them as they go, and I look forward to meeting them all. And with that, I want to turn it over to our Director of Campus Ministry, Mr. Mike Dermody.
Thanks, Mr. Najarian. As Mr. Najarian mentioned, I'm our Director of Campus Ministry here at CM. We'll be entering my 7th year this upcoming fall, but actually it's my 11th year overall at CM, as I'm a proud graduate of CM's class of 2007. And I can't say enough how excited I am to meet your sons in the fall. I always tell people it's an exciting time here at CM, and as an alum of the school, I am always really jealous of the boys who are entering the school for the first time every fall, because I loved my experience so much. I would love to do it all over again and be in their shoes. So I'm especially excited for them to be a part of this incredible CM legacy. I think that the key thing at CM for us is that we really believe that campus ministry is actually at the heart of our school. As Mr. Palm mentioned in our mission statement, we seek to transform boys' lives. And that ultimately for us stems from the charism of Blessed Edmund Rice, who was the founder of the Congregation of Christian Brothers, who founded CM, especially because Blessed Edmund Rice transformed the young boys' lives in Ireland back in the 1800s by providing them an education in a time where it was seen as illegal. So ultimately, our goal in the Campus Ministry Office is to really encourage our students to grow in their relationships with God, and especially with each other, and to also start to examine kind of those important values and ideals that are really going to shape their life. And I think that's a huge part of why you send your son to a Catholic school. And ultimately, we do that by providing a variety of programs throughout the year focused on what we describe as 3 pillars in our office that are faith, service, and community. And these programs are ultimately designed to really invigorate all of our students of all faith backgrounds as well. And so in the middle school, that includes specifically a 7th grade retreat, an 8th grade all-day retreat. Certainly we do all school masses throughout the year and weekly liturgies as well. And then I think especially what we do a wonderful job of is creating an immense amount of service-based events and opportunities throughout the school year, especially at the middle school level as well. And then I'm also excited this year to finally offer a kind of middle school orientation experience that will be coming up this fall, where we hope to invite your boys to meet and really grow in fellowship and become a part of our CM community right before the school year begins. And so that information on that is certainly something you will get as we progress throughout the summer. But ultimately, I am here to kind of answer any questions that are related certainly to service or getting involved in campus ministry. And I'm excited, as I mentioned, to meet your boys and welcome them into our community in the fall. And with that, I am excited to meet someone you will all, I'm sure, be in communication with a lot in your time here at CM. She's one of my favorite colleagues, and that's our assistant to the principal, Liz O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. Dermody, and welcome everyone to our virtual orientation. As Mr. Dermody said, my name is Liz O'Connell, and I am one of the front office administrators. I am starting my 8th year here at CM, which is just amazing to me. But more importantly, and more exciting for my family, is that our son Nolan will be a rising senior this fall. I have been in your shoes. My Nolan started in the 7th grade. And he just has had the most wonderful experience. The way we've seen him grow, as Mrs. Kincannon mentioned, into the young man that he has become and still needs to become, has been through partnership with CM. And my family and I could not be happier with the growth that Nolan has had. Important to know about our front office is that no question is too small or too big. You'll find that you will start your day with the front office. You can end your day. You might talk to us in the middle of the day, but we are here for you. My coworker, Denise Henry, who you'll meet in a moment, we are a great team, and our goal that we say every day is that we want the boys to have a good day. You might have a tough time getting him out of the house, but when he reaches our office, we will put a smile on his face, we will get him all buttoned up, and we will get him to where he needs to be. But it really is, our goal is that the boys feel comfortable each day, that they feel secure, and that that they just know where they're going. So with that being said, important information from on my front, as you'll see on the slide, is we are moving our school clothing store to an online clothing store, and that information where you'll be able to purchase your uniforms as well as spirit wear for CM will be coming out in the next couple weeks, but the store will be open on the week of July 13th. As for your school pictures, you will be receiving information from our partner LifeTouch, who will be taking all of our yearbook pictures, and that will be coming out in August, and you can provide, you will be provided, excuse me, with information on how to choose your package and what you'd like for your school pictures. In terms of textbooks, we offer a partnership with a company that you can purchase, rent, or through that company. That will be coming out the week of July 13th as well. And we will also, for those people who like to use Amazon and get their books on their own, we will be providing our ISBN numbers, which will be up on the CM website in the middle of July as well. But the important thing is, if you need any help over the summer, please feel free to email me. You can also call the main number. All calls are being directed to our homes, so we are just at a moment's notice away from you. But I wish you all the best on finishing up your son's school year. If you haven't done that yet, we look forward to meeting you and your son. And at this time, I'd like to introduce my coworker and very good friend, Denise Henry.
Welcome. My name is Denise Henry, as Mrs. O'Connell said, and I'm a front office administrator with her. We work together every day to make sure that the school runs smoothly and your boys have a good day. I'm starting my 6th year at the school, and I'm also the proud parent of a graduate of the class of 2017. The main office works day to day, available for questions and concerns any students or parents can have. One of my main responsibilities also is to familiarize you with our on-campus system. This system allows both students and parents to access schedules, grades, attendance, and daily assignments. You'll be receiving instructions regarding logins for on-campus account along with your student email accounts by the end of June. If you have any issues with the instructions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me via email. I will also be sending out information regarding attendance and how to call your child out sick for the day, and procedures that are in place for you if you are requesting either an early dismissal or a late arrival to school for your son. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you. Please stop by the main office to say hello. Know that we are here to help in any way to make your transition to Catholic Memorial as smooth as possible. Again, welcome to CM. And I'm now going to turn it over to our principal, Mr. Andrew O'Brien.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. Thank you again for taking time out of your afternoon to join us. Obviously, as Dr. Folan said at the beginning, we would have loved for this to have been in person, but I'm so glad that we could provide this opportunity for us to connect with you, even if it is virtually. Also, thank you to everyone that went before me, particularly Liz and Denise. I will say I am the beneficiary of a lot of their great work. I receive a lot of emails for praise of something that happened or some small gesture that was done. And very rarely is that me. It's usually Liz and Denise. And you will see that they will become tremendous allies for you as you progress through your son's experience at Catholic Memorial. For a little background on me, I'm just finishing up my 1st year as principal at Catholic Memorial. Yes, it was quite a year. I added on top of that the birth of my 3rd child, my 2nd son, Liam, just a week and a half ago now. Him and mom are doing great, and his 2 older siblings are absolutely in love with him. So all is good here. But that that's all to say that this really is a family and a community. You'll hear me talk a lot about my personal life and my family, and you'll hear a lot about that in some weekly emails that you get because it's just core to who we are. We believe that, as you enter into Catholic Memorial, you enter into a bond with the school, and you as parents connect with the school in partnership, and we have a shared responsibility to educate and to develop the young men in front of us. We understand and embrace all of the work that you have done to get your son to this point, and we want to partner with you in his journey over the course of the next 6 years. While this was my first year as principal, this is my 6th year with the school. Prior to this, I was a vice principal and have had my hand in a number of different areas of the school, including curriculum, professional development, student life, a variety of things. So I have a little bit of expertise in everything, but my main role and responsibilities now are overseeing the day-to-day responsibilities and running of the school. And so I interact largely with Mr. Durazo, Mr. Ms. Kincannon, and Mr. Palm in the operation of the middle school building. But I will say I can't think of a better team than those three to be caring for your sons. They really are tremendous and bring just a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just what to expect in the coming months. I wanted to answer some questions. Obviously, this has been a challenging spring for a lot of people, us as a school included. I will say I'm extraordinarily proud of my faculty and staff and of the students and families of Catholic Memorial Community because of the efforts and the energy they put into our remote learning program, which by my accounts and the accounts of those whom we've surveyed and talked to, has been just a tremendous success. That being said, it's obviously not the ideal, but one of the things we pride ourselves on here at Catholic Memorial, and particularly from a school leadership standpoint, is we want to be prepared for whatever comes our way. We never want to be surprised. And so that's really where we're headed as we think about the transition from the end of the school year, the 1920 school year, into the 2021 school year. So when you were accepted, you received an at-a-glance calendar that gave you some of the major vacations and dates to remember as you start to build out your personal calendars. So there's some things about that are certainly going to remain true no matter what school looks like in the fall or throughout the year. But obviously there are some things that may adjust. So if we kind of zoom into the August and September and talk about the start of school, the one thing that is not going to change is our start and end date. So we are going to start our programming on August 31st, that week. And right now, we're scheduled to, our new freshmen will begin their orientation on that 31st. We'll have orientations for new 7th and 8th graders that week as well. And then right now, we're scheduled to begin school on the 3rd of September. That date might fluctuate a little bit, but right now, as you're building out your calendars for your summer and preparing for the school year, the important date for you to remember is that August 31st. That's really when our programming will begin, regardless of what that's going to look like. And I'll speak a little bit more in just a second about what are the different scenarios that we're anticipating, and then how are we going to communicate those to you. So if we go to our next slide, I'll talk a little bit about the upcoming communication, and I'll transition that to how we'll communicate with you throughout this summer. So you've heard a couple people reference it, but this Thursday, we'll be sending out the first of our summer mailings. It's called our June mailing. I know, very creative name. But this will have a tremendous amount of information for you, and then things that we need from you. This will be important for you to kind of sit down and take a run through so that you can make sure that you're getting us all the information that you need, and that you're getting all the information that you need from it. So what's on it? Things like the summer work that your son will have to do. We have a couple different types of summer work. We have an all-school read, which was the book's called A Chance in the World. That's actually a book that has already been purchased for you by the school and is going to be delivered to you to your homes over the course of the next couple of weeks by an administrator here at Catholic Memorial. So no need to worry about jumping on Amazon and ordering that book. That'll be brought to you. That's the book that every student and every faculty member in the school will read. And we certainly encourage parents to pick up that book as well and to read it for themselves. We'll have a lot of our curricular programming and extracurricular programming surrounding some of the major themes in that book. And we think particularly where we are in the world and some of the themes in this book. It's just a particularly poignant story and one that provides us a great opportunity to engage our students in really meaningful discussion. So we'll look forward to that. And then in addition to that, there may be some, depending on what courses your son is enrolled in, he may have some additional summer work as well. And all of that's going to be available on our website, but you'll have links to that in our June mailing. And obviously you'll need your schedule for that. The scheduling is kind of finishing up and will be done in the next couple of weeks. So in the meantime, your son can certainly get started on his all-school summer read, though I'm sure that many of them are finishing up their school years right now and probably aren't too keen on thinking about the work ahead of them. Let's let them finish their year strong, take a deep breath afterwards, and then there'll be plenty of time in the remainder of the summer to get to work on that. In addition to this June mailing, towards the end of the month, you'll receive an email that will update you on some of the technology in the school. That includes our Bring Your Own Device program. So starting next year, every student in the school will be required to have a device with them, and we're going to lay out the specs for that for you, and we'll give you kind of a range of options for you to buy depending on the price point and things that you're going to want it for. But this is a program that, in an initiative that we've been working on for over a year now, and then with everything that happened with COVID-19 and the school shutdown, it just really brought to the forefront the importance that our students have the technology they need to be able to access the resources that are out there for them. It's just such a powerful tool for them. And we believe that by each of the students bringing that to campus, it allows us to create curriculum and programming that teaches them the appropriate ways to use that technology. And so that's going to be really important. In addition to that, you're all going to receive a login. Well, your son will receive his login for his school email. So his name at catholicmemorial.org. And then both you and your son will receive a login for On Campus. You heard Ms. Henry reference this earlier. This is a critical tool for communication from us as a school and teachers to you as parents. This is where you'll check your son's homework, you'll check your son's grades, completion of that homework, many different types of communications going back and forth, all living on that on-campus venue. So that's some of the communication tools that you'll have coming at you in the next coming weeks. And then really, there will be communications coming to you throughout the summer that are going to update you on what our planning is for the start of school, introduce you to teachers, give you more information. So just keep an eye out, particularly for emails that will be coming from me, because generally that's going to be the header for a lot of the informational stuff that you'll get and need to prepare your son to start school. So I know that there was a lot of questions about September and the start of the year and what next year will bring. There are certain questions that I have the ability to answer. There are obviously other questions that are just, we're going to have to wait and see the spread of the virus, what the phasing program in the state looks like, and all of those things. All those things will inform what we're going to be able to do come the fall. So one of the questions a parent had is, what, if any, independence does CM have regarding opening school campus in the fall in the event that Boston Public Schools open or don't? So this is a good question, and people ask this all the time, not just of this, but for things like snowstorms and school closings related to that as well. We are not a Boston Public School, obviously. We do, however, reside in the city of Boston. So what does that look like in terms of affiliation when you talk about schools opening and closing? We are not beholden to Boston Public Schools decisions about school closing. We are, however, beholden to the mayor's decisions about the Boston area. So there's certainly scenarios that could play out where Boston Public Schools decide that they are not going to open school, and we still do, as long as the mayor allows that to happen. There are scenarios where if the mayor decides, okay, it's not safe to open schools like he did this past spring, we don't really have a choice in that matter. But that's not necessarily related to the Boston Public Schools. So as I explained when we went through the calendar, the start dates have not changed and will not change for school. Again, if we do have to look at some sort of extended closure or hybrid learning, we'll look at dates within the calendar year and adjust there to make up the days that are necessary in order for our boys to engage in the type of curriculum that we think they need at their level. In terms of the likelihood of whether kids will be able to return to school in September, our hope and how we're operating is that we're doing whatever we can to have students on campus in September. We are taking a variety of steps forward to make sure that we have all of the necessary equipment and personal protective equipment, and make sure we're updating our facilities to be able to put our students and our faculty and staff in the best position possible to be safe and healthy. Again, I think there are a variety of scenarios that could play out. Students could be back to campus 100%. I think that, in all honesty, is probably the least likely. The school could be closed entirely. And then what I think may be more likely is that, particularly based on the guidelines that were just sent out by the state,
Thank you, Andrew.
The students will, there may be a blend of a portion of the students will be on campus and a portion will not be able to be on campus. So right now we have groups within the school that are working on all of these different scenarios, and we're making sure that we will be adaptable and flexible to anything that we are allowed to do. But again, our focus is, as always, getting the students back on campus in whatever capacity we're able to, as long as we're keeping them safe. Is there a possibility of student activities before the current scheduled first day of school? Do you think there will be a fall sports season? It's really too early to tell. What I will say is that we are looking at a variety of ways to engage the students before the school year starts. We understand the importance of community building. It's so essential to who we are as a school, and we are going to we are currently building programming, whether that's virtual or in person. We're building programming that's going to bring our new students together to meet each other, to meet a faculty, and things like that. And so please be sure to look for those communication emails that'll update you on those things. And then changes to the bus service. Right now we're working, fortunately, we have a great partner in Local Motion who we've partnered with for a long time to think about different scenarios. As part of the June mailing, you're going to be prompted if you are looking for transportation options. There's a form within that June email where you'll link and fill that out. That's just an indication to us that you are interested in some sort of help in getting your son, or willing to be a help in getting students to Catholic Memorial. So in the event that bus service does have to shift in some way, again, because of state regulations, we want to be prepared and working with families to help get carpools and different things like that prepared for them. So as we talk about that 2020 discussion, again, some of the really important elements for us, we are committed to conducting in-person instruction. So if we are allowed, we are coming up with every scenario possible that will allow us to instruct your sons in person. Again, that may look very different than traditional school, but we are doing whatever we can. If we are given even a glimmer of hope that X number of students can be on campus in a classroom at a time, we are going to build a schedule and a program around that, because we know the importance of getting some of that face-to-face time in person with your sons is. We're going to continue to determine our best approaches and frameworks with guidance from the state, the city, and the Department of Ed. And we've already created working committees and have been working together for the last really month and a half to prepare for the variety of options that we'll have in front of us come September. So, all of this kind of falls in our guiding principles. And, I'll end with this because, as kind of a bookend to Brian, Mr. Palm's start with our mission. Our guiding principles in this design as we think about the 2020 school year, 2020-2021 school year, is that, we want to continue to deliver the product, and we're committed to delivering the product that we always have at Catholic Memorial. And that goes beyond any brick and mortar in any in-person schooling. We really see ourselves as, first and foremost, a faith and learning community. Building relationships, and certainly in person, it is easier to do than virtually. But I think what we proved this spring is that we are capable and able to build relationships and build community, even if it does have to be virtually. Though again, our preference continues to be in person. We are going to provide a rigorous college-bound academic curriculum for the young men, and that will never falter. We are never going to cut corners when it comes to our curriculum. We are going to make sure, and our faculty is hard at work, and will be hard at work all summer long, preparing curriculum for the school year that is adaptable and flexible for whatever venue we have to deliver it. We also we deeply believe in the power of transformative educational experiences. So things like speakers, projects, writing to state legislation, like these are transformative educational experiences that put the learning in the students' hands, and we remain committed to that in whatever venue that we can serve it. And finally, we're going to challenge our students to be the best versions of themselves, to pursue excellence, to embrace gospel values, and to be young men of character ready to lead and be in service to others. The great thing is that we can deliver on all of these principles, whether it is virtually or in person. And what I can assure you is that while I don't know what the school year will look like, what I do know is that we are committed to all of these principles and much, much more. And we are committed to providing the great educational experience that Catholic Memorial has become known for. Again, I thank you for your time and for your thoughtful questions prior to this. I hope that I was able to shed a little bit of light, and certainly you'll hear more from me in the coming weeks and months. But I want to turn it back over to Mr. Palm, and a big thank you for providing me this opportunity in this platform to speak to you all. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much, Mr. O'Brien. Again, I hope everybody, appreciates what that took for Mr. O'Brien to continue doing his great leadership here at the school amidst juggling all of those wonderful family pressures as well. So again, congratulations to the O'Brien family for their new arrival. So again, just wanted to finish out. I realize we're after 5 o'clock here, and we'll just take a couple minutes to kind of go through the last few items here. As you can see, we have been doing a significant amount of work over the last stretch to get ready for the many contingencies that we have and that we're planning for. One of the questions, or another couple questions that came up that I wanted to quickly address here, was sort of related to summertime work and assignments and workload. What does this look like? In this June mailing, you will be also getting some both required and recommended engagement that are sort of course and grade level specific. So for our 7th and 8th grade boys, those will be coming in the June mailing as well. So you can look forward to that. As Mr. O'Brien mentioned, the book, A Chance in the World, will be dropped by your house by one of us over the next couple of weeks as well. So those pieces will be important as you are all, as parents, thinking about kind of the importance of this summer and trying to find ways to remain engaged academically. We always stress that, sort of no matter the scenario. This summer, though, we think that is particularly important because of how long it may have been since your son received sort of the type of instruction that you would have liked. And we know that hasn't always been the case, depending on kind of where you're coming from. So we will hope to provide some of that backstop through these assignments. They will be for your son to be completing, at home with you or with a friend doing some of this work as well. We also have some wonderful opportunities this summer. We've got virtual summer courses in math, English, study skills, and in our critical making class that are offered from grades 5 through 9. So if you have children on either side of the middle school and want to jump into that, just go to the CM website, look for summer programs, and you can find more information on those. Those are offered by our teachers. Those enrichment programs will help to solidify some skills, maybe some missed skills, things like that, as well as giving them an opportunity to explore some passions. So we hope we use all those resources. Our study skills, Deb Bruni, who was mentioned a couple of times today, is leading our study skills session too. That will help with digital, online, executive functioning skills, so organizational skills that will be useful to our boys, kind of no matter what environment. And then we've got just a couple of last questions here, talking about a 7th grade orientation trip. Those of you who've been a part of Catholic Memorial for the last number of years know that we've gone to Acadia National Park for a few-day trip. We, before this all happened, we were actually looking into sort of what makes the most sense for our boys, time-wise, commitment-wise, that sort of thing. And we had made the choice to move to Camp Cody in the outdoor classroom in Freedom, New Hampshire. They've got a wonderful program that's sort of geared towards boys and geared towards boys and movement and activity. And so that is the place that we will be going if we can. Of course, there's a whole bunch of variables in terms of that are out of our control, including what they decide to wind up doing. I did receive a message from them recently that said that they are planning on opening up with limited summertime programming. And so we will see. That would be an overnight trip up to Freedom, New Hampshire, which is about a 2-hour, just over 2 hour and 10-minute trip north up in Freedom. So that is still in our plans. We're currently operating under the assumption that we will be doing that. And then the one final question that didn't fall in any buckets necessarily specific to an individual here was the conversation about if there's only remote learning in the fall, will there be opportunities for our new students to meet one another in advance and then throughout? And I think the answer is that, look, we're working to try and find a number of ways to make sure that you parents and students wind up finding ways to connect to the CM community in advance. The advisory program operating over the course of the summer is going to be one way that we're doing that. And we're going to be exploring a range of other opportunities for you to get to know us, for us to get to know you, and for your son to make some contact with some of his peers, his future classmates as well. And so information forthcoming in communications that will be happening over the next stretch. So again, this concludes the program for today. Hopefully now, if you do have questions, you know some faces, and you've seen some faces, and you know some names, and you can communicate. We will be sharing sort of a one-pager that has all of the contact information kind of summarized with types of questions and which buckets those fall into. And we really appreciate you sharing your afternoon with us. And couldn't be more excited about taking next steps with you here at Catholic Memorial. So as we do, in conclusion, I'd like to recognize that we, concluding all meetings here at Catholic Memorial, we pray to live Jesus in our hearts forever. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful afternoon.